I have a little bit of something for everybody in this edition of the Florida Forecast. What's going on, guys? Meteorologist Jonathan Keg back with you. First and foremost, the Blob. We're talking about this unorganized area of thunderstorms in the Gulf of Mexico. It's designated Invest 93L. I'll talk about what that means in just 1 second and where the heaviest rain is going to fall in Florida over the next couple of days. Then we're going to go over your pinpoint Florida forecast. I'll take it through North Florida, into Central Florida, and then into Southern Florida. And if you liked our little appetizer of cool weather that came to about 75% of the state this past weekend, I have more for you. In Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Fort Myers, I think we get in this time around on the cooler air. This front means business, and we'll break that down. Before we get into all this hodgepodge that you see on the screen, if you want to stay updated on the weather in Florida, you have to hit subscribe. Please do that. If you happen to like this content and if you find it informative and helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help us out a lot. All right, so let's break it down. What's going on? We have this mass of clouds. This is our blob. It is disorganized. Hurricane Center has it highlighted for a low chance for tropical development. Hurricane models are being run on it. I don't think it's going to develop. One of the reasons for that, I'll show you in a second with the jet stream map, but Lydia in the Pacific, it's a hurricane. It's going to make landfall in Mexico. Notice the clouds kind of ejecting in that direction. Subtropical jet stream in play, cutting across the northern Gulf of Mexico. This is kind of a precursor, I think, to the upcoming winter and keeping us cooler, more active with severe weather, and more active with rain. If you want to see my thoughts on the upcoming winter, you can click that little link that pops up right there on your screen. But nonetheless, El Nino typically gives us an active subtropical jet stream. So that's what we have cutting across the northern Gulf of Mexico. This guy here, our little blob, is going to continue to lift north. It's going to merge with the front that brought that cooler weather to Florida, but then kind of get sheared apart. So as it tries to develop over the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico, the wind shear is going to be too much. It's also trying to merge with what's left of Max. Some of that tropical moisture is sliding into the Gulf, and then what's left of Lydia. So there's a lot going on. Nonetheless, some very heavy rain is coming to Florida, even the potential for some stronger thunderstorms. I will pinpoint where that is in just 1 second. I do want to show you the models, though. It's out there because this is an Invest. Hurricane Center called it Invest 93L. It means Area of Investigation. We talk about this all the time, but if you're new here and don't know what that means, Invest, again, stands for Area of Investigation. They label these from 90 to 99, and then they circle through them through the course of hurricane season. So once we get to 99, we'll go back to 90. And then L is the Atlantic tag for Atlantic. We have W for Western Pacific, E for Eastern Pacific, and so on and so forth for the other basins. But anyway, there's where the computer models take the center. But it's not tropical, so it really doesn't matter because it's going to be all unorganized. I mentioned before, I'll show you the future radar coming up and how this materializes over the next few days to show you just what an ugly mess this is going to be. But this is Wednesday. Here's where the jet stream is really cutting across, the strongest of it up here. But you see these fast lines moving down there. It would rip it apart. In the same sentence, though, while we have the wind shear to rip apart it tropically, the extra wind shear acts as like a steroid for any embedded thunderstorms that get going over to land. So just keep that in mind that with the increased wind shear, it works the opposite in the severe weather world. The increased wind shear will help to give a little more oomph and dynamics to these storms as they get going, as this blob comes ashore. So here is 3 o'clock on your Wednesday. Okay, this is going to be on October 11th, and this is what I'm talking about. That doesn't look like a tropical storm or a hurricane, does it? No, it doesn't. Those are nice, compact. They look like CDs sometimes, okay? What we have going on here is this big shield of rain, and then we have kind of all that junk out there kind of pushing through as it works its way across the North Gulf Coast. So some heavy rain coming to the to New Orleans, southern Louisiana. We need the rain in Louisiana, in southern Alabama, Mississippi, desperately. Then that heavy rain pushes through the Florida Panhandle. This is Wednesday at 8 o'clock, and then it kind of lifts up towards the Big Bend of Florida, into Jacksonville. And then it continues to lift towards Georgia and the Carolinas. Eventually, we'll have kind of the last push of this. There's Thursday at 10. Could have some stronger thunderstorms embedded there as well toward the Big Bend into the Panhandle. So we're going to be watching for kind of a few days of stronger thunderstorms out of the deal. There's 1 o'clock on Thursday, a little nasty line of thunderstorms working through Central Florida, also through North Florida as well, courtesy of the blob. severe weather threat, it's not all that high. We're not talking about an outbreak of storms at this point anyway. A marginal risk, it's 1 out of 5 on the severe weather scale. It's a non-zero risk for severe weather that is mainly tied to the Gulf Coast of Florida. Okay, so right in through here. That's where we have the best chance, relatively speaking, for a few storms to get a little rowdy as we move through Wednesday, because we have that center of low pressure kind of diving up here. We have that wind shear in the upper levels cutting across out of the west. That could help to aggravate things a little bit. So just keep that in mind. Be weather aware on Wednesday as this comes through. In terms of the heavy rain, you see it right there. We're going to have a nice corridor, an ugly corridor, of 2 to 4 inches of rain widespread from South Carolina all the way through the Florida Panhandle down towards part of the Big Bend. There could be isolated amounts of 4, 5, 6 inches of rain. So there's a lot of tropical moisture. So even though this is likely not going to be a depression, it's likely not going to have a name, it's still going to bring some nasty weather to us. And again, in the form of some heavy rain and some strong storms. Again, it doesn't have to have a name. There are non-tropical low pressure systems like we are going to see right here. All right, pinpoint Florida forecast for Wednesday. We're already to Wednesday. Let me get my head out of the way so my friends in Pensacola can see what's going on. And there you go. Maybe you don't want to see what's going on tomorrow. 90% shot for storms, courtesy of the Blob. 73 degrees, 71 in Boniface, 72 in Tallahassee. High rain chances all along. A little bit warmer to the Atlantic coast because the rain arrives later. So we will see it being able to warm up just a little bit more. We're going to take a trip down to Central Florida. What is going on in Inverness? 82 degrees, 70% shot for rain. Orlando, not so sunny, 60% shot for rain. As we move into the afternoon, this is really for the evening. I do think a lot of your day in Central Florida is going to be dry. We'll be dodging a few stray showers, maybe a rumble of thunder through the afternoon. But I think the highest rain chances for Central Florida come into the evening. So I want you to know that when you see these elevated rain chances on your app, download the Pinpoint Weather app as well. Don't use that app that's on your phone. It's way more detailed on the Pinpoint Weather app. It's a free download, and it's updated by real meteorologists as well, not the computer. Okay, anyway, there's my shameless plug. 60% shot again for rain. Later in the evening for Orlando, Vero Beach, Lakeland. Earlier in St. Pete Beach, of course, we're closer to the Blob. Fort Pierce, what's up? 70% shot for storms tomorrow. Again, later in the day. Same for us in Bradenton. 60% chance it'll be a little bit earlier. I showed you the future radar earlier. Naples, elevated rain chances. Same for us in Key West, although we're likely going to be the driest part of Florida over the next couple of days as most of that action kind of rolls right on through. All right. So if you don't like the kind of unsettled weather, if you don't like the humidity, which I forgot to add, is going to be increasing again. So the humidity going to go way, way up again. Wednesday, you'll really notice it Thursday. So the refreshing changes that a lot of Florida got are going away for a few days, but it's coming back. This is the Climate Prediction Center temperature outlook over the next 6 to 10 days. A lot of warmth in the west, but we are focused on this. And if you love the refreshing mornings and you love the cooler weather, it's coming back, and it's coming back bigger and better than the last one. You might want the jacket for this. If you didn't need it before, you might want it for this one. Here's the deal. Saturday afternoon, temperatures in the 80s, still 90 in Fort Pierce, 91 in Miami. Look at this. Sunday morning, here's our front coming through. Let me get my handy-dandy cold front. Right there. Jacksonville in the mid-70s. Tallahassee in the mid-60s. That's the temperature drop. All right. So this is going to be Sunday at 5 o'clock in the evening. Pensacola, our highs are in the low 70s. Still hanging out 90 in Key West, near 90 in Miami. Lower 80s in Orlando. Watch this on Monday morning. 60s coming our way. And then there you go. There's Monday at 4 o'clock. Everybody through Florida is getting a taste of this. Maybe missing out in Key West. But look at this. Marco Island, Fort Myers, 70s. It's been oh so long. 81 degrees in Miami. 77 in Fort Pierce. Upper 60s for highs on Monday in the Panhandle. Low to mid 70s, right smack dab through Central Florida. So it is coming. If you like the cooler weather, if you enjoyed this nice cool down of this past weekend for 75% of the state, again, everybody gets involved on it this time around. So if you like the cool weather, we will take it. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, Florida forecast. If you found that helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want more of this, you have to hit subscribe. Please do that. Of course, hurricane season continues through October. We're watching the Western Caribbean for late season development, late October development. I want to show you that real quick. Ensembles are hinting at those L's. If you were with us last week, if you've been following our channel, new6clearlander.com, you know I do this. I start to say bye, and then I get another thought into my head, and then I don't leave. I know you have the power to click on and off whenever you want, but I'm just saying. Here we go. This thing is Invest 92L, by the way. European ensembles are split. Some take it north. Some take it back to the Caribbean as a weak tropical system. So we're going to watch that, too, in the next few days. That one's likely to become our next tropical depression as well by the middle to the latter stages of this work week. This is through October 20th. And look at this. If you were with us last week, we were talking about the Madden-Julian oscillation coming through, firing up extra convection, extra thunderstorm activity. And we would be looking for the Western Caribbean, not only because it's climatologically where we look this time of the year, but we're going to have that extra oomph from the MJO moving through into phase, as we call it, through the Atlantic side. And now we have some model support that third week of October, as we were talking about last week and the week before, that we might have to watch that area. Just a few ensemble members. You see like 3 or 4 L's down here. So there's not much biting. That's towards the end of the period, but it's something we're going to watch. All right. Now I'll let you guys go. Thank you, really, for tuning in. I appreciate all of you guys. I appreciate the comments that you leave, even the negative ones. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button. We will catch you next time. We'll bring you more Florida weather and all things super interesting on this channel. We'll catch you next time, guys. Have a great rest of your Monday. Tuesday. Don't want to go back. It's Tuesday.